Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, everybody. It is so good to be back. Thank you. Listen, there is nowhere in the world that I'd rather be on the Sunday night before the most important election of our lives on Tuesday than right here in the Rio Grande Valley. With everybody here right now, with the future congresista, Michelle Vallejo, with my good friend Vicente, with these judicial candidates and judges and every good Democrat who's out there doing the work, knocking on the doors, talking to their friends, their family members, their neighbors, complete strangers, to make sure that they get into this election, cast that vote, and decide our future. I just happened to be sitting next to a young woman named Beto. And Beto was just telling me that when we ran, all of us together in 2017 and 2018, I don't know if you all remember, but I ran for Senate against Ted Cruz back then. And you all were a big part of that campaign. Beto was 13 years old. She was too young to vote, but she was inspired by what all of us were doing together. She talked to her friends and family members, made sure that they got out to vote, and she was just telling me that she's been so excited all these years since then to be able to cast her ballot. She is now 19 years old and voted in her first presidential and congressional election ever. Let's go, Beto! And all these young voters like Beto that we're meeting and registering and talking to, they're in no pollster's survey universe. They're on nobody's radar. They don't see these young people coming. They've written them off. They've counted them out. When they continue to show up on Tuesday, I think they are going to shock Texas, the country, and the world, yes, right? Sir. What we do right now, it is literally, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, 48 and a half hours until polls are going to close here in the Rio Grande Valley. Another hour, because I live in the Mountain Time Zone in El Paso, Texas. They're going to start calling these races across the 254 counties. 48 hours! That is literally all that stands between us and the most important election, not of our lifetimes, but in the life of this country. And I just want you to remember that everything that you do between now and then will decide that outcome. If you can talk to your friends, if you can knock on some doors, if you can make some phone calls, I want you to do it. I want you to remember this. Those people who have not voted yet, some have not voted because they vote on election day. That's their ritual. That's what they do every single election. There are some who got busy. They're taking care of their kids. They're working their jobs. They're going to school. They're taking care of their folks. They just haven't had a chance. They're going to get it done on Tuesday. But you're going to run into people who ask you, hey, why should I vote in this election? I haven't voted because I just can't make up my mind. I don't want to get my hopes up. My heart has been broken by Texas before. You know that Beto guy, he ran in 2018. I voted for him, but he lost. He didn't get the message and he ran again in 2022 and I voted for him again. And the guy didn't win that election.
And we'll vote for you again.
So what are we going to do? I met
run
a
again,
woman.
Run again, run again, run again,
well,
run again.
We need to introduce them to Chano.
Run again, run again, run again, run again. Beto,
we have plenty of races to focus on right now. Let me tell you this. I was at dinner in San Antonio the other night, and we're just about to eat, and the bartender comes out from around the bar, and she gets right in my face, and she says, Beto, convince me that I should vote on Tuesday. And she's one of these people who she's thinking, listen, man, I voted, and I voted, and I voted, and then Texas passes the most obscene abortion ban in America. Women are literally dying because they cannot get the life-saving care that otherwise should have been theirs. It's just not working, Beto. She tells me 2 years after Uvalde, those 19 kids, those 2 beautiful teachers slaughtered in that classroom, and not a single thing has changed in this state to make it any less likely that any other child meet the same fate as those 19 kids. Beto, certainly voting does not work. Why should I get my hopes up again? And I reminded her that this democracy is deeply imperfect. It is frustratingly slow at the change that we deserve, that we need, that we want, that we're working for. But it beats the alternatives out there And we have overcome the challenges that are before us right now against much greater odds. Just think about one. Think about women's health care at a time that women are under attack unlike any other time in our history, except for this. More than 50 years ago, abortion was just as illegal in this state as it is today. You had women from the Rio Grande Valley dying in back alley abortions, coat hangers that were used because there was no legal alternative to what they were doing back then. But no one came in to save our bacon. No one rode to the rescue. There was no cavalry that came into town. It was Texas women. It was Jane Roe and Sarah Weddington and Jane Coffey. 3 Texas women prevailed upon an all-male United States Supreme Court to decide Roe versus Wade in 1973 and make sure that every woman across this country can make her own decisions about her own body, her own future, and her own health care. Texas women saved this country 51 years ago, and I'm telling you this right now, Texas women are going to save this country today.
Yes,
Are you all with me?
Woo! Yeah!
We are made of stronger stuff. We have to have the fortitude, the patience, and the courage of our convictions. I just was talking to John and Lisa, who were knocking doors today, right? They were knocking doors for Michelle Vallejo, for our great Democratic candidates up and down the ballot. One of the doors they knocked on, and if you are a canvasser, you run into this, there's a ring camera, right? And you press the button and the person talks to you through the camera. And they talked and they made their best pitch. And the guy said, you know what, I've already voted. You can go on to the next house. As John and Lisa are walking down the next house, this guy comes out of his front door and he says, hold on a second. You know what, man? I've been wanting to get more involved. I want to do something other than voting. I know that's not enough given what's on the ballot this election. So tell me how I sign up to volunteer and to join you all right now. That guy, I think his name is Arturo, he is now a volunteer knocking on doors for Michelle Vallejo. That just happened here today. So, I told this woman, listen, if we don't vote, if we don't organize, if we don't knock on these doors, if we don't talk to our friends and family over these next 48 hours, we're never going to get this change that you so desperately want and we all desperately deserve. So I want you to do this favor for me. Get your hopes up one more time. Cast that ballot. Make sure that we elect these great Democrats.
Woo!
If you want to know whether or not my answer to her question worked, she served me the fattest shot. Went back to the bar, poured me, I don't even know what was in it. I felt so good the rest of the night. But obviously we have made that connection. Last thing that I want to say. We were listening to someone talk about their family who had served this country, fighting fascism overseas to save this democracy here at home. Think about all of those great Americans who have preceded us, winning our independence, ending the institution of slavery, fighting those Nazis so that we could preserve what we are here today in America and have this conversation tonight. Those civil rights and voting rights marchers, all of their service, all of their sacrifice, all of their struggle has come down to us today at this moment. And what we do with it, whether we squander it or whether we enlarge it for the generation to come, is going to define us in the eyes of our kids in the pages of history. It is going to determine what is possible, not just for South Texas, not just for this state, but for this country and the world. So no pressure. But this election is on each and every single one of us, and we must come through. And I'll tell you this, if you're anxious, if you're tempted to despair, remember that action is the key. It's the key to victory, and it is the antidote to despair.
That's right.
Let's get out there and talk to every single one of us, because when we do the work, we are more likely to win. When we vote,
we
are
win.
going to win, right? And when we win, we are going to deliver for our fellow Texans. We're going to answer those questions that the bartenders of this great state ask us when we're trying to eat our meals. We're going to show them that Texas, once again, can come through and provide the leadership that we need in this country, but it begins with each and every single one of us. You all ready to win these elections?
Yeah.
Up and down the ballot?
Beto for governor!
Well, enjoy your night tonight, and then tomorrow morning, bright and early, let's get back to work.
Beto! 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 Beto!
Any senators on the ballot right now, please come up.